It's an interesting thing, most of the indigenous shamans that I've worked with wouldn't try to define it, but in English, the English language, we do these things. And so I sort of say there's three different categories. One is physical shapeshifting, biological. When, you hear about stories of people shapeshifting into jaguars in the Amazon or eagles or whatever. And I've had some physical shapeshifts that we can talk about later. We all go through this to a certain degree. I mean, when you cut yourself, and your hand heals, as a shapeshift going on there. Cancer is a form of a physical shapeshift, and people sometimes get miraculously cured of cancer. That's a shapeshift. But in indigenous cultures, it's often really important to be able to shapeshift into an animal or to escape an enemy by shapeshifting into a tree. For us, things are a bit different. The second form, which we might call psychological or emotional shapeshifting, is much more common to us. And that's what, psychologists do and people are doing all the time when they're trying to move into being better at what they do or getting rid of an addiction. So that's the second type of shapeshifting, which is more, I might even call it spiritual, psychological, emotional. And there's a lot of devotion to that in our culture these days. And the third type is institutional.
Okay.
And that's something that we really need a lot more of today. And we are going through it. The internet, there's so much that's happened recently technologically that furthers that. And I think that the pandemic is teaching us that we really, really need to shapeshift our institutions, and we can. We've done quite a job. We've shapeshifted institutionally a lot in the last 9 months or so. So those are the three types of shapeshifting, I would say. And the definition is, it's when you basically you're using energy to change, to transform yourself physically, emotionally, or to transform institutions.
Okay. Is it like alchemy where we think of turning one thing into another, or is it literally, I remember reading in Shapeshifting where your teacher was talking about you already are that?
Yes, I think, alchemy, Paulo Coelho's great book, The Alchemist, and the whole idea of alchemy, Merlin, King Arthur's court and so on, that's a metaphor for how we can shapeshift on many different levels. Can we shapeshift metals? Yes, of course we can. You could create steel by combining certain things with fire. It's always about applying energy, and we can, shapeshifting is all about energy. When you think about it, Sandra, what are we? We're 99.9% air. And some people say, well, wait, what about the water? Well, water is air, H2O, basically solidified, and that other 0.001% or whatever, science used to tell us we're subatomic particles, but quantum physics tell us that that's just it's probability. It's the probability that's determined by the energy of who we are. So when you really think about it, who are we and what is each of us as an individual? And shapeshifting is about really understanding more about what you want in your life, what you want to bring into your life, what you want to get rid of in your life, how you want to be. And it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be institutional. And then applying that energy and using perception to change things.